Good morning, everyone, and welcome out to Sky Bacon Stadium for this edition of YBMcast, powered by Game 7 Baseball, Game7Baseball.com. Game 7 Baseball is not everywhere, but Tennessee, Illinois, Kentucky, Missouri. If you're looking for a youth tournament with some good competition, go check out Game7Baseball.com. Get your team registered. They have some venues down here in where we're at, down in the Springfield area, Branson. Been out at Ballparks National now at Lake of the Ozarks, good facility there. And met one of the managers. He brought his team up to St. Louis. Met him a couple last week. So we're looking forward to maybe getting down there with the cameras ourselves. So we'll have some fun. So make sure you do that, Game7Baseball.com. All right, I'm going to switch over here. I got a couple of gentlemen on the set. We would like to welcome Logan Hughes, head coach, Nixa baseball coach. Congratulations on the Final Four. I know it's not quite the outcome. You want to grab that mic but thanks for coming on this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. And last night was fun, man. It was the atmosphere was incredible. Our community, which they've done all year, showed up, supported us, packed the place last night, and our guys, they love that stuff and they feed off that stuff, and we're just so thankful for everybody that came out tonight to support our guys, or last night.
Yeah, and as always, the guru himself, Mr. Kevin Moulder from Prep Baseball Report. He loves that, by the way.
Yeah. Well, he is the guru. So.
Wow, last night, and I remarked that I told this to Brian. I think we're in year 3 here at this facility for the state championship. Wow, Nixa showed out. I thought that was I'm sure the Misha guys might know. I thought that was the biggest crowd we've had down here. The community clearly is behind you guys. That was really fun.
Yeah, they sure did. They showed up last night, and we preached that stuff early on to our guys about, we did 1,000 hours of community service this past year with all of our guys, and getting out and helping each other out, whatever that's helping a local church or a nonprofit organization, or helping pack presents and do stuff over the break. And it's just, just trying to give back to other people who need it, a little bit more than we do maybe, and then guess what? They show up.
You can tell the community cares, and that's really neat to see. And we talk about this, throughout the course of the year. In general, the teams that are here, and I would say your team is definitely no exception, are teams that are good programs. It's not just hey, we got a really good couple players and we're riding them. You can tell this is a good program, and that's a credit to you, Coach. So
thank you.
On to the game, certainly didn't disappoint. We had this one circled as one of the ones to watch all week. My goodness, Ethan Taylor literally couldn't have been any better than he was last night. What a performance. Talk to us about your senior transfer right-hander.
Yeah, just a very mature young man, a kid who works really, really hard on his craft every single day, and working to get better. And I think that's where he took that confidence from last night, knowing he was going up against a really, really good team, a really, really good offense. He knew he had to have his stuff. I'm not sure he's ever pitched in front of a crowd like that, so that was maybe a question as to how any of our kids were going to handle that moment. But boy, he did. He stepped up. Something that you hope, from your seniors is in the biggest moments they show up. And he did.
Really impressive. And I alluded to the transfer. I know he came in from Idaho. The Blue Spring or Liberty North team, if there was a team in our state that had an allure about them, they have a lot of Power 5 commitments. Yep. They had the big stud right-hander on the mound who was as advertised last night. They were the defending state champions. And Ethan and the rest of your team, they didn't back down one bit, so that's got to make you proud as a coach.
Yeah, they competed, and that's all we want from our guys every day as they show up to the yard, is just compete as hard as you can. And sometimes there's going to be teams out there with, like you said, Power 5 guys and maybe more talent across the board. But I'd be hard-pressed to find a team that's going to compete as hard as we do every single day. And that's what we want from our guys. Just go out and play your best, man. Play your hardest. Leave it all out there. Whatever happens, happens.
In your team is not short on talent either. In a couple of your sophomores created that run for you last night. Wyatt Vincent, sophomore center fielder, already committed to Missouri State with a big hit, and then Caden Cloud. That's an extremely athletic-looking, toolsy young shortstop you got there, Coach.
We got lots of talent. Our younger kids are continuing to mature and get better and learn. They've had a lot of guys in front of them last year, Jarrett Nelson and some of those guys, and this year Tanner Grant and Reese and a lot of those guys who are teaching them how to continue to mature and continue to work. Sometimes young, talented kids have a tendency maybe just to show up because they've been so good for so long. They just show up and play and they're good. But these kids are learning how to work and that they want to keep getting better and compete against these teams, Liberty Norths and Francis Howells and Jacksons. Then we got to keep getting better. And we're very fortunate. We've got a lot of talent. We've got a lot of young talent mixed in with some very mature older guys who are teaching them kind of the ropes of things and how to actually approach getting better in the weight room and a lot of that stuff. So I think the future's really bright, and a lot of our young kids have stepped up all year for us.
What's interesting, and I talk about it with Brian all the time, or coaches that we have on, there seems to be a common denominator with most of the teams that are here, especially at the 6A level. I'm looking at your schedule. Wow, you went after you challenged your kids, and I've noticed you played Jackson a couple times already, and you're going to get to play him for a third time here. Yeah. But not just wow, you've played a really strong schedule. You already played Howell, you played Rockbridge, Logan Rogersville. Wow, that's a really good 4A team there. We talk about putting your team in uncomfortable positions, maybe even overextending them at times where you might take a loss through the course of the season, but kind of build you for the postseason, and clearly that's paid dividends for you. Is that kind of your...
Yeah, we're going to continue to do that. We need to, and we talked with some guys last night, we just don't see guys like McGuire. We don't have those guys. Not right now. We got some younger kids that I think will continue to build arm strength, but we don't have guys 90, 93, and so we don't see it a lot, and we don't see it at practice. And again, there aren't that many guys around,
right?
But we need to make sure that we're playing those guys throughout the entire year, so that our guys do see it and our guys get used to seeing it, and understand how to build a process and an approach so that they can have success in the batter's box. And so we'll continue to do that. We expect to compete with these guys every single day, and we expect to be here. We know it's really hard and it's not guaranteed, but that's kind of our expectation in this program, is to be in the Final Four and compete for a state title every year. And we know that if we want to do that, we have to play these guys all the time and throughout the year. And so we're going to continue to schedule them, hopefully a couple times throughout the year, maybe in some different tournaments and stuff. But and again, I know Coach Perkins and his sons played for me at Drury. And so I know a lot of the guys around the area too, and it's just fun to compete, with other coaches that you know.
So, big ball game still today. We're playing. You got a big game today. I know you want to send your guys out on a right note, and win or lose, obviously, this is the right note. The way you guys played last night was incredible. Talk to us about what you got on hand today, who you send to the mound, and what to expect out of this Jackson team.
We got our hands full again. They're a really good baseball club, and they came to our house a month or so ago and played, and we got to play them twice. And Bogan Pole pitched the first game and was really, really good. We just kind of did what we did and battled all game and got a bullpen guy in there and was able to scratch some runs. And he wasn't able to play in the second game, and I think we kind of took advantage of that early. They're a completely different team, and they're playing really, really well. I think they'd won 18 in a row before last night or something like that, and they're very, very well coached. And, but we're a different team now too, and I think we're playing with a lot of confidence. And this is one of those games where after such a high last night, you know, and ended up not the way we wanted to. We just need to make sure we're ready to go. And we preach that anytime you get an opportunity, you can't take it for granted because it's not guaranteed. And tomorrow's not guaranteed for any of us. And we got to make sure that our guys come out ready to play tonight, and I think we will.
One thing I've noticed about your roster, you certainly have some seniors, but there's a lot of good young players on this. So I'm sure that I know the main goal is to win the game, but you're also using this as a building block to springboard you into next year and prepare for a championship.
We've had two of our best pitchers this postseason and this run have been sophomores too, and Jackson Gamble and Colin Kelly. And there's a good opportunity. They both probably pitch tonight. Jackson Gamble is going to get the start. He started against Blue Springs last week, and so both those kids, again, just really hard workers, kids who have put in the time in the off season and in their development, worked really hard with our pitching coaches, and so we're excited to see them compete tonight. Want
to touch on the Blue Springs game because that probably was the best sectional game in the entire state in any class. What a thriller. Take us through just, you know, for those that didn't know exactly what happened there at the end of the game, and again, talks about just the job you've done with the team and never quitting, and because I know it was a come-from-behind victory. Yeah, it's kind of something that we've done a lot all year. We had to do it against Republic, you know, and score late in the district title game and then the quarterfinal. Their kid was really, really good too. Gibbler, he's really good. Another kid going to Arkansas. We seem to keep facing guys going to Arkansas, which is great for us. We love that stuff. But he was really, really good. Probably upper 80s, maybe low 90s guy. Pitched really, really well. Just something that we preach to our guys, every pitch is important, and don't be an easy out. Even if we're going to make outs, which we're going to, just be a tough out. And we saw that last night too, and we got their guys last night's pitch count up. But we did the same in that game against Blue Springs, and we were a senior. Mason Eagleberger hit a fly ball to right that we tagged and went to third on. And then they threw a wild pitch and we scored, and that fifth run was the winning run. And you don't see it as much in the books, but that fly ball to right made all the difference because we were able to score on a wild pitch. And then, you know, it's not a strikeout where nothing happens, and we try to get our guys to have quality
productive outs.
Exactly. Yeah. And so just another one of those games where our kids, that's just what they do. They just fight, and that's why we're here, because they don't want to lose, and they want to keep fighting, and they're doing it together. That's awesome. Well, Coach Hughes, really appreciate your time this morning, and best of luck to you guys. You guys have been a fun team to follow and watch all season, and good luck tonight. Yeah, thank you guys so much for all your time and all the coverage you do for not just our kids, all the kids throughout Missouri and high school. We appreciate you guys.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you taking the time. You know, you're talking about having your team ready. You coming out here at 9 o'clock in the morning after that game last night, that shows character. That shows the fact to your team. I love that. That's actually being what you say you are, and I appreciate that very much. I love this game just like you guys do, and anytime we get an opportunity to talk about it or play it, we'll be ready. Thank you very much. Coach Logan Hughes, folks, Nixa Baseball. I'm sure they're going to be around here for a little while. We're going to take a look at our championship games here coming up. We've got a dandy here, Kevin, and we're going to be seeing oh, that's okay. Go ahead. I'll catch up with you just a second. We got the teams walking on the field for actually the third place game. Got Fort Zumwalt South versus Webb City. And so we're going to be getting to that here just a minute. But our championship games today between Festus and you got Festus and oh my gosh, St. Francis Borgia. There it is. I always forget. I always want to say Francis, but it just doesn't really work that way. And I'll tell you, I think these teams are going to be very difficult. It's going to be a fun one. We're going to have Mason Shermer on the mound, and I'm not quite sure. I know Kevin's got this name, but we're going to get to that here just a second. And but when we talk about Mason Shermer, I know that this young man's going to be a tough kid to beat. He's been good all year. He's loose. He's ready. We had the conversation with him yesterday, and I think he's going to be prepared. We're going to see two good offenses, although I think runs are going to be at a premium with the arms on the mound. And just one moment, folks. I'm going to let thanks, Coach. Appreciate it. You too.
Sorry, Brian. We're talking shop.
We're talking Class 5 championship game. Mason Shermer with Festus, and I'm not quite sure. I can't remember the young man's name on for Francis.
It'll be Caden Carroll.
Caden Carroll, there it is. Gosh,
it'd be a shocker if it wasn't.
Yeah.
He, Borgia has that 1A, 1B type thing. Noby is the more talented. I think that it's a fair. I don't think anyone would push back on that. He's tall, athletic, low 90s arm, but Caden Carroll statistically is right there with them. You're looking at 49 2/3, a 1.28 ERA, 54 strikeouts. So this guy, only 8 walks. This guy can do it. So
right.
This should be a quick one, Brian, unless they decide to play all morning.
Unless it goes extra innings, because
right.
it's either 0-0, 1-1, or 2-2. I mean, something of that nature. Because Shermer on the other side, he's just as effective.
Yes, and Mason Shermer is no stranger to this game. The championship, he started in the state semifinals last year, which kind of led to their decision to, I don't want to say throw off, but to save him for the championship game. And, sitting here 24 hours ago with you, we barely knew who Ian Brown was. And that's
I don't think
that's
we
because
did
he
at
hadn't
all.
played a year and a half. Right. Like, I knew him as a name on the roster, and I start to hear the backstory on him. It's incredible. Going into the game, he had 15 innings over the last 2 years. And he threw a complete game gem yesterday. But Mason Shermer, who is the clear-cut ace of the Festus Ball Club, they got him saved up for today. 7-1 on the season, 45 2/3 with a 1.08 ERA, 71 strikeouts and 45 innings. 19 walks. So this is going to be a big-time pitching matchup, and we did talk about this earlier, the depth of the 5 and the 6A. Well, they both have good pitchers to run out, as opposed to some of the smaller schools who it runs dry a little.
Bless you. I know your allergies been
I
killing you all
apologize.
weekend, haven't they?
That one.
Festus 25-8 this year. Borgia 24-5. These two teams are I think they're very evenly matched. I think I like Festus's offense a little bit more than and this is the first time I've seen them either team play. Just watching yesterday, I think Festus lineup looked a little. They put together some pretty good at bats yesterday.
I think in terms of talent, you're probably correct on who has now. The flip part of that is Borgia has the superstar,
right?
Jack Noby,
right?
Because he can do it with the bat. I mean, he can hurt you. So, and the other thing that Borgia does, to their credit, is they play a really good team game, defensively, offensively. They can get you with the squeeze, a hit and run. They're going to battle you. I do like, if we're picking on talent, I take Festus in terms of who has the deeper lineup, but I really like what Borgia does as a team concept, and then they got the star in the middle of the lineup.
That's a little contrasting in certain respects. I don't know, I guess, in contrasting styles, but the mound is where I think that the game's going to be decided. Who's going to get deeper in the game? I think if you got to go to the bullpen a little earlier than you would like, that could be the decider in this. I think Shermer and, Carrier? Caden Carroll, excuse me. If they can get deep in this game, then that's going to be – and I think when you're talking about championship games like this, how much depth each team has. We've talked about that year after year. If you've got to go to your bullpen, how deep are you that way, taking away from your starters? And if you've got to go – if a team is able to get you to that, 70, 80, 90 mark by the fourth or fifth inning – and, I mean, that's hard to do. I guess maybe not in high school baseball.
I think this is a separator for Festus. They really like their bullpen. They have 5 guys on their team that are mid to upper 80s arms, and they got some numbers to back it up. So I agree with your point, and clearly if you're Borgia, you want to work to get Mason Shermer out of the game. He's different than the rest of the guys out there for Festus. But that being said, you look at like a Braden Montgomery, 30-plus innings with a 1.1 ERA, Nathaniel Moore, 30-plus innings with a 1.48 ERA. So they got some guys they're confident in, and they won't be scared to put in the ball game. Now, make no mistake, Shermer's their guy, and they're going to go with him and ride him. But if he hits the 105 or they get into a tight spot late and Shermer's gassed, I'm sure won't hesitate to go to those guys.
Class 6, we saw a couple of dandies yesterday. I think Coach P was probably pretty puckered at the end of that, Kevin.
Wow.
Oh, man.
A comeback by Jackson. And, first off, Howell is exactly who we thought they were, and who I thought they were before the season started. They are, if I was asked who are the 2 most talented teams before the season started, and we talked about this before, it would be Francis Howell and Liberty North in terms of pure talent. And they jumped out to a nice lead. That it was 7-2, then it was 9-2. It was actually 2-0, I guess, Jackson, and then Howell rips off 9 unanswered, and we look like, well, okay, Howell's pulled away. Naputi's got this. He's not going to walk the house, and he didn't. But Jackson just showing all sorts of heart and grit and finding a way to put 6 on the board. And then have runners at first and second with 1 out still in the final inning. And, Howell had to use 3 pitchers in the last inning to get it done. And I know it was uncomfortable in that dugout for them. So credit to Jackson. That's not a surprise. That's one of my favorite teams in the state. It's one of the it
for
team.
Reason too.
Yes. It's an it team. There's something about them. Now there's plenty of talent, and it's super deep. It's not like this is a Cinderella team by any stretch of the imagination. This is one of the power schools in the state. But wow, a lot of fun, at least from the stands.
Yeah. I thought it was great. As you said, we're sitting there, this game's over, and all of a sudden it's like, and
yeah.
And I was walking by the fellows. They're sitting up watching the next game a little bit, and I was like, guys, why the drama? We like to make it exciting.
Yeah. Had it the whole way. Just wanted to tick Coach P off, and right?
Oh,
Keep
yeah.
him on his toes.
I think it's hilarious. And we talked to Coach Hughes about the other game, and that was great. So
I do want to bring up on the Howell game.
Yeah.
We have talked at length about their big guys. Sissel and Pooty and Norfleet and, even Jackson Vaughn and Leo Humbert. But a guy that's not going to play in college comes in and saves the day for him. Senior Evan, they call him Piwo, Parowski.
Yeah.
You want to talk about being thrown in the fire. I mean, Jackson has scored 6 already in the inning. They have runners at first and second. There's 1 out. And, I mean, there couldn't be more tension, and just all the momentum is lying there with Jackson. And he comes in and just is flipping strikes in there. He's landing the breaking ball. That kid did not bat an eye. And got 2 batters out, and
game over.
And here they are today.
And I love the last out. He's calling everybody up. Pitchers are asked, catch the baseball pitcher.
Yes.
He's calling everybody
You guys
off.
get away from this. You guys had your chance for the last half hour to get this out. I'm taking this 3rd out.
I loved it. That was great, wasn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, man. I thought that was special. It really was. And, as we're talking, I was going to lead off. I mean, Titus Sissel, he set the tone yesterday for how offensively he was hitting the baseball.
He has turned into kind of the spark plug or the linchpin of that Howell offense, and so he go, they go type thing, and he went yesterday.
And we talked, I think we talked about this earlier in the season. You lost McCutcheon, which, I mean, he's starting because some injuries happened, but he's starting there as a freshman at Missouri State, and
Yes.
he's having success. He's hitting the baseball. He's a special talent. I like Jake McCutcheon. But who was going to replace that? Who was going to be that guy? He was their senior leader last year. Who's going to be that guy? And I think they got a group of guys
Yes.
that kind of really take that role, don't they?
Yeah, you can tell the Pooty kind of sets the tone with the mound, and Norfleet's obviously in that mix, and
I think Caleb Miller's one, behind
yes.
the plate.
They have in Adam Shipley,
Yeah.
quarterback of the state championship football. So they got a plethora of guys down there.
Exactly. And then Sissel, he's taken that shortstop position, and I think defensively, even though he had that error in that, I know, and I just –
there was an error.
And I haven't seen that from him. And I was shocked. I really was.
I'm sure that he would be the first one to say, I should have made that
play.
play.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, we were right after that thunderstorm, slick turf, probably a wet ball, runner kind of right in front of him. There was some factors in there. It's not like he –
Well, but that's not my point. Those are things, though, that you're not going to see that because
Right.
he's the guy – I think he's more athletic than McCutcheon, definitely.
I would agree. Yeah.
And I think it adds to him in that position. I'm watching him yesterday, and I'm watching the communication level. He's constantly in the dugout talking, putting guys. As the shortstop there, he's watching the outfield. He is mentally engaged at a very high level. And I think that's what, when you have that guy, and it was like McCutcheon last year, same thing. So I see a lot of the similarities in that respect as leadership on the field.
From a leadership standpoint, I would agree with you.
Yeah, I just think that's an impressive thing. He's a junior. He'll be back, so. But on the other hand, here's where Liberty North grinds that out. They got the same kind of guy, Trey Schneider at short, and then Ty Wisdom up the middle. That is a very strong team.
And then Bo Jonas behind the plate.
Right? So,
the Liberty North, I can't I guess they're probably sick of me saying it.
No, it is what it is. They deserve it.
They're. I mean,
because Kevin, look, you can't. I don't think you can say those things enough. It's just the reality of it. You're talking about a team here. I don't care how good you are. We saw Blue Spring South get beat.
Yes.
Right?
And things happen.
Yes.
And Blue Spring South is certainly one of the most talented teams in the state, and
it's
they lost
hard
to a
to
really
get
good
back
pitcher.
here.
Yeah, it is. And so, that's what makes what Howell and Liberty North did really impressive, that they're sitting here in the championship game. These kids are drawing on experience from last year. I am sure that Liberty North is feeling, well, we got this. We've done this before. We know what it takes. And Hal's sitting there with just a chip on their shoulder and just burning about what happened last year, because that was the game of the year, the 10-inning thriller in the semifinal game between these two last year. And I'm sure there's been a lot of hours logged on the practice field, in the weight room, in the batting cages, just thinking about the what-ifs, and I can't wait to get back to get a shot at those guys. And not only are they back here, they got Liberty North lined up. So could
epic,
you ask for
man.
anything
this
else?
is epic.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that's what I mean. I love this. You look at these, to me, and the rankings have kind of proven that out to a great degree. I think we have actually the two best teams in the state.
Yes, I would agree with that.
No offense to anybody else.
No, there was some Blue Spring South was up there, Zumwalt West, and it kind of got hard.
Jackson,
because Zumwalt West beat Jackson of Howell for the first 4 times, but then you're sitting there thinking, like, man, this Howell team has done it, and they're so talented. So I think at the end of the day, we do have the two best and the two who we kind of thought we'd have, if you look at this March 16th, the day before the season started.
Yes.
And it doesn't always work out that way.
It doesn't.
But this year it did.
Because, we talked about Glendale in Class 5, right?
Yes.
And this Webb City team, who's playing for third place, took knocked them out.
Yes.
And so there you go. We look at that. It doesn't always. That's why I think you have to understand how difficult and what these two teams, Liberty North and Francis Howell, have done this year, just to get back here to have that opportunity.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think it was Borgia that knocked out Glendale last week.
No, I think
in the 5A.
Didn't Glendale lose? They
I
lost
was at
in
the game.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Was it Borgia?
Yeah.
Okay, my fault. My fault.
Just didn't want to.
No, that's good, because I thought they lost in the district final. Because there's so much going on sometimes.
Yeah. You're thinking of the Willard Camden.
That's right.
What a district that was.
That was, because Willard lost to Glendale in the district final.
Yes.
That's what it was.
Yes.
And then it was 2-0, the Borgia game, right?
Yes.
Gotcha. All right.
And while we're on that subject, that district, you had 3 teams that could easily have been in the, state final.
Willard's not here.
Right. Yeah. What a district.
And so there it is. I mean, and I think it's going to be, I'm not understating this. I think it's going to be pretty epic. On
paper, it's set up to be that. So.
I hope I don't, and you're like, oh, man. You hope you don't hype it too much where it's like...
That being said, I brought this up yesterday. My favorite day of basketball of the year is the first day, the semifinal day of the Final Four. And my favorite day of football on the year is, 2 days, the AFC and NFC championship day, because you get the doubleheader. And then, the semifinals for the college football. To me, those are always better than the championship games. How were we going to beat yesterday? For the 6A, we had 2 one-run games that couldn't have been any tighter.
And it's what Coach Hughes said earlier. I think sometimes you have a little letdown in these third-place games, so they can be a little anticlimactic, for lack of a better way to put it. And So I think that can be, as you said, I think the semifinal day is really always a little better than championship day because you have 4 really good games, and unless sometimes you have the letdown from that with the kids in the third place, it can get away from them a little bit.
Right, and sometimes, especially the losing team, will exhaust their bullpen to try to, make a run at getting back in a game. But nonetheless, still a big game for those teams, and it's going to be a fun day.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be outstanding. Look, again, folks, you can watch on MSHSAA TV, MSHSAA.TV.
There we go. Glad you did that.
Or you can go to MSHSAA.org and click on the MSHSAA TV logo and get there. Or if you're listening, you can click on the link in our description here. Go there. You can watch. It's worth the money. It is. It's worth the money.
Yes. You would have had your fill of entertainment yesterday, and tonight isn't going to disappoint either.
And yesterday I showed you it was interesting because Coach Steve Lautzenheiser, he's the Zumwalt Coach, he had messaged me. He goes, "Hey, what's the Howell score?" And I'd got back to him late, and I'd sent an update, and he says, "Yeah, one of our moms here, they were at a tournament in Edwardsville. One of the moms had it on her phone, and they're watching the Howell game and playing it." So, I think that's great across the state. Fans are tuning in because we got such a great baseball around here. And this is going to be it. We're going to sign off here for the day. Hope everybody's enjoyed the podcast and the coverage that we've had out here. And I appreciate Kevin for coming by and helping and working and talking with us. It's been fun.
Good season, Brian. Good job.
Yeah.
This was fun.
It's been
Let's do it again next year.
We will.
Okay.
We will be back next year. Absolutely. And appreciate the folks at MSHSAA, Doug Fessler.
Doug's awesome.
He really is.
It's a shame that congratulations. I'm glad he's retired, for his sake, but we'll miss him.
Yeah, he's going to be moving on a little bit. But, and Kenny Seifert, hopefully we'll get Kenny back around a little bit from time to time. He's a lot of guys retiring right now.
Yeah.
And some new blood coming in.
I really respected how they'd answer tough questions, fair questions, but they would tell you, so tip of the cap to those guys.
Absolutely.
In a good event down here this year. I think they've kind of nailed it. This has been a good event, and I think we had some criticisms a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
This thing has been smooth, and it's a good operation, and these kids are getting a good experience down here. So, tip of the cap to MSHSAA.
Absolutely. Well said. Well said. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Remember, check out the game. Enjoy your baseball day. We're going to be on social media throughout the day with pictures and stuff, so stay tuned with that. We're going to have some fun and watch some baseball. Kevin, as always, thank you very much. Everybody, have a great day in the Lord. All you pitchers.
Keep throwing strikes.
That's it. But you're a pitcher, you don't want them hitters to keep hitting, do you?
I'm Switzerland. I root for everyone at this point in my life. I'm rooting for pitchers. I'm rooting for hitters. I'm rooting for defense. I definitely want strikes, though. Above all else, I want strikes.
There you go, because then you can hit,
right? That just ruins everything if we don't have strikes. So that's the most important thing. That's not, you could be a hitter, pitcher, DH, whatever, a fan. You just need strikes. We need to have strikes.
You heard it from the guru himself, folks. Everybody, we'll talk to you next time.